Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Today, we're going to talk about a student who was seen on camera pepper spraying a teacher. This is very serious in my view. I think that this is a conversation that, believe it or not, it links to wealth, family, culture, and everything else. And I'm going to kind of give you my assessment on some of this as a teacher myself and kind of help you understand why this kind of thing is really serious. And my heart goes out to teachers and parents trying to figure this out. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say good morning to everybody. Shout out the city you're from. Let me know what city you're from. And also, please hit that thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And let me know what city you're from, and let me know if you can hear me, okay? I want to say good morning to Yoshika. I see you, Yoshika. It's so good to see you again as well. Geraldine Webb, Terry Cobb out of Atlanta. Good to see you. B1 to you, too, also, Geraldine. Dion Rice out of Augusta, Florida. B1 to you. Let's see. I'm glad you're touching on this. Good. I'm glad you're glad because I think this is an important topic. Kenneth Boyd from Chicago. Let's see. Victor from Dublin, Ireland. Okay, we got Ireland in the house. Victor in Ireland. That's what's up. I got to go to Ireland. I found out that I'm like 5% Irish. Because Massa be sneaking up in the slave quarters because he can't, because the Black women are so irresistible, but at the same time, the tragedy of slavery is real, and it's something that we should be talking more about, and that's why Boyce is 5% Irish, but I'm also 40% Nigerian. So shout out to my Nigerian brothers and sisters. Let's see, Rashawn out of Seattle, Arletha out of LA. I see Geraldine Webb, Park Forest. What's going on, Mrs. Dixon out of New York? Afternoon in London. All right. Well, it's good to see you in London. Okay, and Keon out of Louisville, Kentucky. I got to shout out Louisville. That's where I'm from. All right, so let's jump into this because I think that this is an interesting topic. Give me a yes or no. Yes or no if you saw this. There is a story about a girl who was at school, and the teacher took her cell phone. And literally, the little girl got so mad. She looked like she's in high school because it looked like she has kind of a grown woman's disposition in a way, like maybe she's a senior or something. And she literally pepper sprayed the teacher, like this girl. And I can't play this video because on YouTube they wouldn't let you show violence or whatever. But if you want to see the video, just go to my Instagram. My Instagram's The Real Boyce Watkins. I put the video up this morning because I was really curious to see what everybody thought. I tried not to throw in my own opinion because I want to hear your opinion first. And let me just tell you, I thought it was. Yeah, the students pepper sprayed the teacher. Did I say it wrong? Somebody said I thought it was the student that pepper sprayed the teacher. Did I say the teacher pepper sprayed the student? If I said the teacher did it to the student, that's not correct. The correct statement, and maybe it's because it's morning, I'm still drinking my coffee, but the student pulls out this pepper spray and hits the teacher. And so I want to ask y'all a simple question, yes or no. Give me a yes or no response to this. Is there any justification whatsoever for something like this happening? Like, do you think that there's any justification? Like, is there any state of the world where you can see a teacher? Oh, somebody say, yeah, I mistitled. Holy crap. I put the title in wrong. That's so bad. I want to change it. I should probably like cut the live off because I see y'all got to forgive me, man. Sometimes I just get stuff wrong. Please be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. I totally jacked up the title. So I'm going to end this. I'm going to turn this live off Instagram because I totally said teacher pepper spray student. And that is not the case. The teacher did not pepper spray the student. It was the student that did it to the teacher. So I'm going to end this live because I'm officially stupid this morning. But again, just be patient with me. God is still working on me. So give me one second. Come back into the live because I'm about to fix this because this ain't right. All right. So anyway, all right. so as y'all can see, I'm part black man, part dumbass, and then sometimes I say something that's halfway remotely intelligent, and I hope that you'll hear that too. So here's the deal. So the student, I'm asking you all, is there any way that this is justifiable? Give me a yes or no. Do you think that there's any state of the world, any way you can talk about this situation and say, oh, yeah, I get it. He took her phone because that's what he did. He took her phone. And, and everybody needs their cell phone. Cell phones matter. So I get it. Some people need to be pepper sprayed for taking somebody's phone. What do y'all think? I'm looking for a yes. Does anybody have a yes? I really have to say that I'm in alignment with those of you that say that there's no excuse. I cannot think of any scenario. I know we want to, I know we're team black people and we want to support our squad, but I don't think it makes sense for us as black people to support any kind of ridiculous behavior. I just don't. I think also as black people, I get real concerned about some of these conversations about race. Whenever there's an interaction between a white person and a black person, sometimes we will just directly take the side of the black person without looking at all the facts. And I think that what that does is that undermines your ability to achieve justice in this society because it makes you look half stupid and half crazy. Because there are some black people out here who will hurt your ass. There are some black people out here, just to be honest with you. Give me a guess if I can say this and be loved. There are some black people out here that will kill you and your child. Jennifer Hudson's whole entire family was murdered, and they wasn't murdered by a white cop. They wasn't murdered by a Klansman. They were murdered by a jigger. I'm gonna just say it was a jigger. It was jigger culture that led to the assassination of Jennifer Hudson's entire family, her mama, her sister, and her son, or her mama and her son, or her nephew. I'm sorry, her nephew, her mama, and there was another relative, I think. It was just crazy, right? So I think that as black people, it's really, as intelligent black people anyway, I think it's very important for us to just really make sure that we discern in the cases where, look, this ain't right. What y'all did to us is wrong. We know about the history of what y'all did. Y'all did teach us this violence, right? So let's just be clear about that. But I can't justify this, right? So anyway, and my heart goes out to all the teachers that are putting up with this, because I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. A kid pepper sprays me, somebody might get punched in the face that day. Somebody might get punched. I seriously, you pepper spray me, all bets are off. You're no longer a kid. You're no longer a gentle woman. Like none of that. You pepper spray me, I'm balling up my fists, and I might retaliate. And your parents come to school, I'm gonna have an issue with your parents. And also, and by the way, we're going to court, and you might be going to jail. Seriously, all of that, all of the above. Check every box that indicates a proportionate response, because you pepper sprayed me, and that's an issue. Now, here's the thing. So some of you had a lot of comments. I put the video up on my Instagram. My Instagram's The Real Boyce Watkins. If you want to watch the video, there was a lively conversation about it. If you want to jump in that debate, just jump on my Instagram, The Real Boyce Watkins, so you can see it. I'm going to read some of the responses. And as I do that, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And I wanted everybody to meet me in Dallas next week, May 19th. I'll be there with Tim Jackson and my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, and we're going to do a 2-day Black Wealth training camp. And so I want to understand wealth and also connect with other like-minded wealth builders, other intelligent Black people. This is the home for intelligent Black people. We're the number one spot on the planet for intelligent Black people who want to build the community. So we're having that last gathering in Dallas. If you'd like to join us, just go to boycewatkins.com. Also, the All Black National Convention is another gathering of intelligent Black people that's happening in October in Atlanta at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. So you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com or my website if you'd like to see more about that. All right, so here's what I looked up. I looked up, and I was, first off, let me tell you, let me read some of the comments. And then also what I did was I looked up what are appropriate cell phone policies in public schools. Our kids go to school. I know that our kids, we'll take their phone away in a minute if they get out of line. Never once has anyone been pepper sprayed over this, but there is a lot of anger, right? You take away the cell phone of a teenage girl, you're going to be public enemy number one. You ain't going to have no friends in that house for a while. And then our appropriate response is, we're not one of your little friends. We're not here to be buddies with you. We're here to discipline you. And so, what first thing you should notice about this is that this is an addiction. Trey Kearney, a friend of mine that's on social media that follows me on Instagram that I've known Trey for a few years, Trey made a good point. She said that sometimes when you see kids acting out when their phones get taken away, it's because we're addicted to our phones. Did y'all know that social media is designed to be addictive? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that social media is designed to be addictive? Literally, go Google search, is social media designed to be addictive? Here's what the Milwaukee Independent says. It says social media are designed to be addictive, driven and reinforced by dopamine. That's the same thing they use for gamblers, the same thing that's used for crackheads, the same thing that occurs in alcoholism, same thing that occurs in sex addictions. Any addiction you can think of is connected to the reward centers of the brain. So social media is designed to be addictive. Teens and emerging adults are susceptible to acceptance and rejection through social media, making them particularly responsive to such media and emotionally addicted. So when I think of social media and I think about the addictive aspect of social media, I think about what happened when DMX says that he was introduced to cocaine when he was 14 years old. Cocaine's already a hell of a drug. It's already bad enough. I've never tried it. I don't want to know what it is. I've heard too many stories to know how great it must feel to try that drug. I don't want no parts of none of that. And but the thing is that it's 10 times worse when your brain is not yet fully developed, when you're still figuring out who the hell you are. You're already going through all the insecurities of being a young adolescent, all of the questions you have about life, all the things you don't know about yourself. And then on top of that, they throw in an addiction on top on top of all that. And then on top of the addiction, there is the whole acceptance, self-acceptance and self-relevance that comes from social media, right? You get your self-esteem from how many likes you get on your TikTok video, right? When people attack you and make fun of you on social media, you start getting depressed and possibly becoming suicidal. Lots of kids are killing themselves because of social media, right? And that's just crazy. It's like it's almost like a type of crack where the more you smoke it, the more popular you become. So it's not just the crack that makes you feel good. It's like people actually cheer you on for smoking more crack. That's kind of what social media does. It's addictive, and there's this social reinforcement that says that because I have more followers than you, because I'm a better person, because I get more likes than you, I am more relevant than you. Because people are making comments on my Snapchat videos or whatever, I feel like I am somebody. I'm defining myself by the extensive use of this drug. Right, so your kids have become addicts. Basically, they're addicted to their phones. They're addicted to the social media. All the science shows that all the beeps and bells and dings and buzzes on your phone are literally training you to be similar to Pavlov's dog. How many of you have heard of Pavlov's dog? Anybody heard of Pavlov's dog? Anybody know what I'm talking about when I say Pavlov's dog? Well, Pavlov's dog was this dog that was trained to literally salivate every time he heard the dinner bell. And what they did with the dog was every time he heard the bell, they would feed him food. And then and he would salivate because he would be like, oh, food's coming. And then what they did was they took away the food and then they would just ring the bell. And what they found was with Pavlov's dog that eventually he started to associate the bell with food. So when he would hear the bell, he would have a reaction. It's almost like if every time, imagine if every time somebody hit you up on your cell phone, you know you're about to go get some good loving. You know what I'm talking about. We all grown here, right? You're about to go to their house and they're about to rock your world. Well, eventually, when you hear that special ring on your phone that you gave him on the ringtone, or you see her name pop up on the screen, you start to form a reaction because it's the anticipation of the pleasure that really gets you kind of going. You know what I'm talking about? Anybody know what I'm talking about? Right? So basically, the reward centers of the brain are manipulated the same way with social media. Every time you're scrolling, every time you see or something buzzes or beeps on your phone, you get a notification that you got a new comment or a new message or a new whatever. Then that's going to make you say, "Oh, I wonder who it's from or what it is or what this next piece of content's going to be." And it's designed to do that to you. So basically, the same way you need a detox if you own crack, you need a detox if you are addicted to Facebook and Instagram. The same way you might need to go and spend some time away from the liquor bottle every now and then to cleanse your body. Well, you might need to spend some time away from social media to cleanse your spirit, cleanse your mind. You got to do it. You got to do it. And you got to talk to your kids about it because your kids are addicts. So what I saw when this little girl pepper sprayed this teacher, like, think about this. You done pepper sprayed a damn teacher. That's going to be on you. That's going to hit you for life. That just changed the whole trajectory of her future. No teacher in their right mind is going to want to have the little girl in their class who pepper sprayed a teacher. Teachers are humans. I know y'all don't think they are. Shout out to all the teachers that sacrifice, by the way, because I'm gonna tell you, y'all put up with them kids. I don't know if I could do it. I love them, but I can't. I got to love them from a distance because I tell you, pepper spray me. Someone's getting punched that day, then someone's getting arrested, and then someone's getting sued. All of the above is going to occur if you pull the pepper spray out on Mr. Watkins, right? So effectively, teachers are humans, and teachers are not going to want to be around a child like that. Also, that stigma of being the kid who pepper sprayed the teacher is going to affect her when she tries to go to college. If she tries to go to college, she could end up in jail. Then you go to jail, then it opens up a Pandora's box of experiences that you may have in jail that may shape who you become over time. My father was rebellious. I told you my daddy was a gangster. He is a gangster. He's older. He's an OG now, but my daddy was kind of a rebel back in the day. And let me tell you what my daddy did. One day, the teacher got mad at my father for going to sleep in class. So what she did was she grabbed a glass of water and threw it in his face to wake him up. Well, he takes the glass and goes outside, fills it up with water. He comes back in the classroom and he throws it in her face. And then she gets upset. She's outraged, right? He's a black kid. She's a white lady. She slapped him. Well, guess what? He slapped her back. And then the next thing you know, he's on a plane to Vietnam, where they pushed him out of the plane because he didn't want to jump out with the parachute. So they pushed him out of the plane, and he spent the night sleeping in a ditch, hearing mortar shells going off in the distance. And he's been affected ever since. So this girl is going to have significant consequences for her behavior. So when I saw that situation occur, my thought was I would really love to meet her parents. You know that movie, Meet the Parents? I'd like to do an episode of Meet the Parents and figure out what's going on in your household that makes you think it's okay to pepper spray a teacher. Like, really, what is happening? Who told you that this makes sense? And what is the parent's reaction? Is the parent's reaction going to be similar to what my reaction would be if one of our kids pepper sprayed the teacher? If one of our kids pepper sprayed the teacher, we would put the hammer on that ass. It would be literally a significant problem. We would, first of all, we would be concerned that we would be getting sued or something or whatever, right? So then we try to smooth things over with the school and the teacher. And then we would be like, what were you thinking? What is wrong with you? You are out of your damn mind. Don't you ever do that to anybody. Like, that's the conversation we would have in our house. I don't know if anybody else runs their house the same way, but that's what my wife and I would do. If she's got one of those parents that says, well, the teacher shouldn't have took her phone, I don't know what to do with that. You're pretty much begging society to beat your daughter with a billy club and put her in jail. You're begging society to put your daughter in a prison, in a penitentiary, because she's a danger to other people. Because at some point somebody's going to piss you off, somebody's going to take your phone or whatever, and you can't run around pepper spraying other people. So at some point she's going to have a confrontation with a police officer or something, and she's going to get her ass beat, maybe killed, or at least hauled off to jail. And that's just the reality. I think that when you have parents that think that that they should not discipline their kids or that their kids are always right, you're setting your kids up for failure or for death. You cannot, it doesn't mean that authority should not be challenged, but there has to be a way that you do it where you're not going to end up dead. And I just really hate this because I've seen it happen before. I've seen, the parents that defend every single thing their child does. Their child can do no wrong. And this is interesting for me. Again, I'm Gen X, so I'm not Gen Y, Z, millennial. I'm not none of that, right? So maybe the mindset's a little bit different, but I don't remember a time where teachers, when I came up, it seemed like teachers could call your parents if you did something stupid, and your parents would support the goal of making sure that you're disciplined appropriately. They would make sure that the school didn't abuse you, but they would also make sure that you understood your role in this process. I cannot imagine what it must feel like for some of these teachers that call the household and the parent is as immature as the child. What do you do with that? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that and also educate other children that really want to learn? it's tough. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am a teacher actually. But I taught college students, and part of the reason I taught college students when I was at Syracuse and I wanted to teach college students is because I like the fact that college students were at least young adults that have been kind of filtered through the system a little bit. College students, they come with their challenges, but I liked college students because I'm not a good babysitter. I'm not a good babysitter. I'm not good at making people do things. Even to this day, it still reflects in terms of how I talk to you guys. I'm not here to convert people that want to be ignorant. I'm just not. I'm not the person that's going to talk you out of whatever ridiculous mindset you might have. I'm the person who talks to the person who wants to do better and says, okay, let's talk about how you can do better. Let me help you. One thing I can tell you, and my wife is a social worker. She talks to me about this a lot, is she says you really shouldn't try to spend your time helping people that don't want to be helped. Now, is that true or not? I don't know. People have different philosophies on that, especially when you talk about kids, because kids are still impressionable and you can still have an impact. But she just says, look, especially you talk about adults, grown ass adults, if that person does not want to evolve, if that person does not want to grow, then sometimes you got to let them go. Just bless them. Like, okay, good luck to you. Some of y'all got relatives that don't want to grow. Every time I go and I do any sort of investment seminar or training or something like that, I'll have people say, well, I got a cousin that won't listen and they don't want to learn about wealth. And what can I do? And I'm not the right person to answer that question because I don't really know what to say. I'm like, well, go make yourself successful. And then I bet you they'll be calling you up trying to borrow money. And then when you get their attention because they need your money, then you can force them to listen to you. Go get some power. And then when you get some power, then people, when they want something from you, they will listen to you and you can control them in that way if that's something you want to do. But don't spend all your time begging people to come along who don't want to come along. I don't know how to do that. Right. So ultimately, I think that when you're talking about culture, again, we talked about culture last night. Culture is a big part of wealth. It's a part of family. It's a part of everything. There is, kind of this other side of the culture that comes from all these systemic factors, right? Broken families, the crack era, mass incarceration, all of that. You went from a community that has stable families to one 30 years later where 76% of all Black children don't have a father. I remember when there was a young lady I mentored who was on a basketball team, and they won the state championship in my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky. And I remember asking her, I said, how many of your friends on the basketball team have a father that lives in the house with them? And she said 0. Not one single child on that team had a father in the house. I felt sorry for them. I'm sorry, maybe I'm naive, but I just wish every little girl, I believe every little Black girl deserves to have some man in their life who cares about them and wants to be there for them and wants to protect them, who ain't trying to have sex with them. I remember when I would go pick her up from school when she got to be about 16, 17, I had a couple of teachers that were concerned. They were like, why would a grown man want to go pick up a 16-year-old girl? Is she dating him? Is he trying to sleep with her? Like, why is this grown man picking up this little girl? And I was like, this is so sad that we live in a world that people can't even consider the fact that I loved this little girl since she was 10. I was her track coach when she was a baby. So what are you talking about? I adopted her as my own because she didn't have a daddy that was present. I wanted to be a father, and she's a daddy's girl. She's still in my life to this day. I love you, Carmen. And the weird thing that just freaked me out was that there were some people, because of their own experience with men, particularly Black men, who could not imagine in their mind. They could not imagine why a grown man would take an interest in a 16-year-old Black girl who wasn't trying to get some ass. That speaks to the level of trauma that we have in our community. Like, you really don't think I can go find a grown woman to get with? You really think I'm gonna go trying to go hang out with a 16-year-old? And ain't no evidence, ain't nothing to, ain't never done nothing like that. Never thought about that. What are you talking about? But that freaked me out because that was beyond I said to her, I said, you know that people think that I'm picking you up because I'm your boyfriend. And we just laughed about it. But I was like, but this is serious. This is bad. People are thinking that, so I just really think it's fucked up. Excuse my French. I think that Black people, I think that those of you who understand how fucked up this is, excuse my French, I'm not going to cuss no more because it's Sunday. All of y'all who agree with me You gotta like speak up on that. Stand up on that. Stand on that. Give me a yes, somebody. If you understand where I'm coming from, when I see some of these children, when I see going back to to when she was young and on the basketball team, I saw a lot of anger. That's where I was getting at. I saw a lot of anger from these little black girls, and I honestly believe that a lot of the anger stems from the fact that the first man that you ever loved, there's a book called My Father Was My First Boyfriend. The first man you ever loved was AWOL for whatever reason. It could have been his fault. It could have been the mama's fault. Usually it's both people's fault. Usually it takes two people. It takes a village to destroy a child. It takes a village to destroy a child. So the village came together. Both of your parents might have worked together to ruin your life. Maybe it's the bitter mama. Maybe it's the abandoned the AWOL daddy. I don't know. I'm not judging. But the result was there was so much anger, and the behavior was so different. I would see girls, fighting like acting the way you think dudes would normally act, like in the bathroom fighting over some chick, and they'd be like, come on, bro, calling each other bro and stuff like that, like bro, I'll fuck you up, bro. And I'm like, man, wow, that's a lot of testosterone up in there. And so what you see is an unhealthy ecosystem. That's what you see. So going back to this young lady who pepper sprayed the teacher. I don't know her background. Again, at this point, you can actually accuse me of like talking out of the side of my neck a little bit, because I don't know this lady. I don't know why she did it. I don't know what her story is, and I'm not going to try to pretend to tell story. I generally might talk about something like this, not specifically to gossip about the person that's involved in the situation, but to really talk about the bigger picture of what's happening to you as a people. What's happened to you, Black people. Like, this is not us. Pepper spraying school teachers is not us. That's not your child. That's not my child. That's somebody's child. And I'm looking at this and I'm sitting there, and again, we live in this world that's racially charged. We live in this world where there's a legitimate claim to battling against previous sins of a racial nature that have occurred against us, things that others have done to us, the oppression, the abuse, the mistreatment. We're battling against that, and it's hard to battle against that sometimes, especially if you have scenarios where some people are defending behavior that is not defendable. So I will say this. If first of all, again, shout out to the teachers who are actually going to school and dealing with this every day. I don't know. Sometimes when they talk about stuff like guns in schools and all that, I'm sitting there thinking, man, if I'm in a school where somebody might show up and shoot up everybody, I might want to be strapped. I'm not saying all teachers should have guns or nothing like that, but I wouldn't want to be defenseless. And I think also when you have scenarios where everyone's gonna take the other person's side, or that somehow you're going to be seen as a bad guy, I wouldn't want to live in that world. And in fact, what I did was I looked up appropriate cell phone policies in public schools. So there's this website called scienceandliteracy.org. And I don't know much about this site in terms of how they, what their expertise is, but they actually laid out an article called Crafting a Cell Phone Policy at School to Reduce Distractions. They gave 9 rules and tips for teachers in terms of cell phone policy. Now, as I read this, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Just a reminder, I'll be in Dallas May 19th doing a 2-day Black Wealth training camp. I'll be there with my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. Also, you can go to my website, boycewatkins.com, and there's a training up there called How to Make Money Without Working. You guys know I'm the wealth guy, the Black wealth guy, and that's something I've been doing. Also, some of you have asked about me coming to your city and do anything like that. If you have and your group has the ability to generate revenue and find a venue, we're willing to work with you. So feel free to email Chanel@boycewatkins.com if you'd like for me to come in. I can talk to your school, your church, your organization, your investment club, whatever the case may be. But it does require a capital investment in order for us to make this happen. So just kind of be prepared for that. But it's reasonable. So feel free to email Chanel if that's of interest to you. Her email's on the screen. So let me read this. So this article says that this gives 9 tips in adequate cell phone policy in a public school. They said, number 1, cell phones may be used on school grounds before school, during lunch, and after school. So if that right there says if she had her cell phone in class, that's a violation of the policy. But again, we talked about how social media is addictive. Cell phones are addictive. So she's addicted like a lot of kids are. Number two, cell phone use is prohibited in classrooms, restrooms, and school offices unless otherwise stated by a teacher. Number three, during the instructional day, cell phones must remain out of sight and in silent mode. Number four, unless explicitly allowed by a staff member, headphones and other listening devices may only be used before and after school hours. Number five, cell phones must be placed in lockers, backpacks, or another location away from students and their desks during tests and assessments. Number six, if students need to place an emergency phone call during the day, they should request to go to the main office or to use an office phone. Number seven, students may be subject to disciplinary action if their use of their cell phone disrupts the school's educational environment. So let's see, examples of this include, but are not limited to, cheating, bullying, harassment, unlawful recording or photographing, violating other school rules. The school and the staff, number eight, the school and the staff are not responsible for any damage or theft to a student's phone. Number nine, students and their parents must read the cell phone policy and return a signed copy to the office at the beginning of the school year. Signing the policy acknowledges acceptance. Students will not be permitted to have their phones at school until the signed policy is returned. So, if her mother signed this policy, then obviously that's a problem, right? That pretty much says that this girl doesn't have a lot of legs to stand on. And I was reading some of your comments this morning, and I'm looking here and I see Two-Eye Green in the videos on my Instagram, the real Boyce Watkins. So feel free to go there if you want to join the conversation, leave a comment. Let's see, Two-Eye Green says, problem, these kids be asking for an ass whooping, let them fail the class, move them to the back of the room and do nothing and remain in the same grade. Forever, some of these kids can't help. You can't help. Trey Kearney says the phone addiction these kids have is the problem. They're just like drug addicts. She says there needs to be a phone rehab program in the schools for students who behave like this. That's not a bad idea. The disability scholar, Dr. Roosevelt Mitchell III, he says some teachers need to understand that you don't need to engage in a power struggle with kids. If a student doesn't want to give me their phone, I simply say, well, I better not see it out. And if I do, then you're going to the office. But I don't physically touch other people's kids or try to take anything. Okay, I like that. Dr. Shauna says the comments are hilarious. Two-Eye Green says mental illness is real. Let's see here. Yolanda Spivey says, I would press charges against her and her parents. Further, the school needs to make more stringent rules when it comes to the usage of cell phones in schools. Madam Butterfly says if he would have reacted to her spraying him physically, he'd be in the wrong. And that's true. I mean, that's interesting, right? That if he gotten up and just, I told y'all, you pepper spray me, bets are off. Like, because that hurts. Pepper spray sucks. So you pepper spray this teacher, and then the teacher retaliates against you like you're a grown man, then suddenly it becomes, teacher abusing student or white man abusing black girl, and when the reality is that this that this is not acceptable behavior. We know this. Let's see here. Someone says, so what's the school policy? Queen Tashai says, so what's the school policy with students having their phones in the classroom? Also, how is security being conducted when students and teachers enter the building? Because why is she walking around with pepper spray? That's a good question. Is there a safety concern? Why nobody helped him with milk or water in his eyes? Y'all saying press charges on her, but it has to be a reason why she's carrying pepper spray. I see this becoming a big issue and policies being created. It's the end of the school year, so I'm not too sure of any serious repercussions. Affection Boy says, I can believe people in this community actually support her. This is the problem with the Black community. Bad parents raising bad kids, and the circle continues. Let's see here. Someone says theft by snatching, self-defense, case closed. Teacher's conduct was inappropriate. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I hate the fact that schools have gotten so crazy. I think they're only going to get crazier. I really think that the breakdown of the family is the root cause of this. I don't know a lot of families with a mother and a father where this kind of behavior will be tolerated, or even one good parent. And I think that this is a reflection of what you're actually dealing with. I think that we, as Black people, I think that we've been kind of convinced to put on blinders. We put on these blinders where we kind of believe that everything that's happening to us is always somebody else's fault, and that that we don't have to do anything about it. I think that the blinders kind of say, look, hey, if you critique black behavior, because I've been accused of attacking black people by simply saying like we can do better. And so effectively my response to that would be, so are you saying that we should just simply continue to do exactly what we're doing? Are you saying that we should continue to be exactly what we are, which it has put us in the position that we're in right now? Well, that if there's any attack on black people, that's the biggest attack that there is. The biggest attack on black people is to say that you have no ability to control your outcomes. The biggest attack on black people is to say, don't try to improve, don't try to do better, just sit exactly where you are and sit around and let's wait for white people to decide to elevate our condition. If you think that way, then unfortunately that makes you a white supremacist. If you are a black person, give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. If you are a black person who truly cannot on any level hold yourself or any other black person accountable, and you're simply hoping and praying to white Jesus that one day white people are going to wake up and decide to be nice to you and treat you better and give you whatever you want, then you're kind of a white supremacist, because what you're saying is that our fate is in their hands, that our outcomes are belong to them, that they when they decide to treat us better, we will be in a better position. And I don't think there's anything wrong with expecting dignity. I think that every community, if you look at every community around the world in terms of communities that are strong, there is some sort of there's a code of conduct. There are rules. There are ways to enforce those rules. There are consequences for violating those rules. So the question that I ask you, Black people, is: are you in a position to have enough economic and social and political maturity to enforce your own rules? Or are you a community that is waiting for white people to enforce those rules? You don't think about it. And that's what you're used to, right? You send your kids to a big school run by white people, and they enforce rules on you. Then maybe if the kid gets too out of line, they go to prison where somebody else is enforcing those rules. Then you go to the corporate plantation where the corporation is enforcing those rules. And then you just navigate and respond to whatever direct or indirect stimuli they put in your place to control and manage your behavior. But the question becomes, where are our enforcers? What rules are we enforcing? What are we doing to say, look, this is over the line, this is not cool? Or are we simply waiting for white society to set the boundaries and benchmarks on our behavior? And if you do that, then that means you might be a little bit brainwashed. You might want to rethink that. I personally am okay with being a little bit of an enforcer. Just by me talking about this and saying, look, this is not appropriate, this is not cool, I am drawing a line. And my hope is that we can understand the importance of doing this, because you cannot look at the failures of the public school system and just say it's the teacher's fault. You can't. You can't say it's just the teacher's fault. Remember, I told you all earlier, it takes a village to destroy a child. It takes a village to destroy a child. So, and now, by the way, I actually wrote a short book, very short book, called "It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar." Right. So that's the other side of that. Right. It takes a village to raise the bar. That's on Amazon if you want to go take a look. But it takes a village to destroy a child. So when you look at what's happening with these children in the public school systems, and they're being destroyed the way that they are. And when I say destroyed, I just believe that in Chicago, the fact that they have 55 public schools without one single child that can read or do math at grade level, that is apocalyptically bad. That is insanely, horrifically bad. Is it the fault of white people? Hell yeah. Is it the fault of the government? Hell yeah. Is it the fault of some of these teachers? Hell yeah. Is it the fault of some of these raggedy parents? Hell yeah. But what you got to understand is that it's all of these factors coming together to destroy the child. That's the village. That's, the holy trinity between the system, the teacher, and the parents ruining these kids. I went to school. I had good parents, I think. We had a disciplined household. I didn't like going to school. School was terrible for me. As a Black boy, I was not learning anything that I found to be relevant to my life. I was not treated appropriately by the teachers. The racism was very, very real. And so all those factors exist. And the question that you have to ask yourself next as a parent is, well, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? And that's where you get killed. That's where they destroy you, because what they then convince you to do is that you're not supposed to do anything about it. You're supposed to be sad about it. Then you're supposed to complain about it. You're supposed to go to church and pray to white Jesus about it. And then you're supposed to wait for Joe Biden, who's your other white Jesus, to show up and say, vote for me and I'll fix it. You are not on any level convinced or persuaded to be empowered enough to say, oh, enough is enough. To hell with that. To hell with that. Because parents, you can take your kids out of these schools. There are homeschooling networks. There are black-owned schools out here. They're homeschooling. You got things like the internet and Chat GPT. So any parent that wants to create a smart child can do that. Just have them sit down and learn stuff for 3-4 hours a day. And then they're going to be as smart as anybody else, right? Seriously, you got all the tools that you need to teach your child everything that they need to know. Now I know you got to go to work every day, so I get all that. I understand all that. But still, there's ways. If there's a will, there is a way. And the people that have the solutions that I think work the best are when I talk to my friends that are Hebrew Israelite or Nation of Islam, because they know how to build. They know how to step outside of a system, right? A lot of us have been so institutionalized that we can't imagine doing anything without institutions. We can't imagine eating without having fast food restaurants down the street. We cannot imagine making money without having a job to go to. We can't imagine learning without giving our money to a school. And so what I'm saying to you is that you're going to have to expand your imagination, because most of these systems destroy you. I'm still baffled. I'm still cracking up almost, but in a sad way. I'm still tripping over how they convinced 80% of us that COVID was the number one killer of Black people. Have they convinced most of y'all that damn virus was murdering Black people like the KKK? That was the number one killer of Black people. They had y'all scared. Oh, Lord Jesus, I'm going to catch it. I'm going to die. I understand. I know the virus was real. I've never been a denier of the virus. But I said, have you seen the list of the things that Black people die from? Your pandemic never ended. Your pandemic is at McDonald's. Your pandemic is at Popeye's Chicken. Your pandemic is at the Krispy Kreme store. Every time you see an obese Black person, and if you are obese, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just telling you that you're in a pandemic. You've been trained to be a food addict, and that food, the salt, the sugar, the fat, all that stuff is killing you faster than COVID ever could. COVID is jealous of diabetes. Jealous of. My wife had me listen to this health thing, because I became conscious of health after I started seeing all my relatives dying of cancer and having strokes and diabetes and all that. I don't know how many of y'all have gone through this. Anybody seen this stuff up close? It's terrible, right? It's crazy. It's an epidemic. And so she showed me in this book where this guy explained the 4 horsemen of death, the 4 things that kill people. And to remember, I use acronyms. I call it CHAD. CHAD is the angel of death. The C stands for cancer. Cancer is what's killing Black people the most. C don't stand for COVID. It ain't COVID, it's cancer. H is heart disease. The A is Alzheimer's, which also even comes from the food you eat and sedentary lifestyle, all that. And the D is diabetes. Diabetes is the gateway illness that opens the door for all the other illnesses that come along. Diabetes opens the door, and all the other diseases are like, okay, we're going to come in. They all looking over at COVID. COVID ain't doing nothing. COVID ain't hurting nobody, really. I mean, not nobody, but COVID's taking out 1 out of every 10,000, but we're going to take out 1 out of every 4, right? All these diseases. So diabetes opens that door, and then all the diseases come in. And so if you want a solution to that, because I'm solution oriented, I'm a mathematician. I can't sit around and complain and whatever. I want to know what my marching orders are. So shout out to the soldiers out here that understand what I'm talking about. That's why that helped me understand why veterans and soldiers tend to follow the platform more than regular people, because good soldiers don't sit around and whine and bitch and complain about a problem. They want to know what's the goal, what's the assignment, what's the task, what's the objective, right? So I identify with that mindset. So here's a solution. What I found out was that the solution to fighting the angel of death, which is CHAD, cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, are to take your meds. The meds, MEDS. Meds stand for mental health. You got to maintain your mental health. Things like racism destroy your mental health. Stress destroys your mental health. Just dealing with a life that you don't want to live, like whatever it is, right? Or just not knowing how to manage your mental health, that can kill you. The E stands for exercise. Everybody needs to be exercising. I don't care if you weigh 800 pounds up in here. You can still do more than what you're doing right now. You can do something. Get your fat ass up and go do some jumping jacks or something. Make yourself tired every day. Sweat a little bit every day. And I'm not making fun of fat people. I'm not fat shaming, because I understand. I've been fat before. I'm still not where I want to be. I still weigh more than I want to weigh. And especially when you get older, it's harder to maintain the weight. I get it. But your big ass can get your ass up off the couch and do something. You got energy to do so. If you got the energy to get up and walk to the refrigerator, then you got the energy to do a couple of jumping jacks, walk around the block or whatever. You got to exercise. Your parents are dying younger than they should because they ain't exercising. Seriously, that's what they just sit around and don't move. And why did this light go out? Hold on, there we go. They don't move, and then next thing you know, when you get older, your body just is like, man, well, fuck you too. Like your body just dies because you have no muscle mass. I was stunned when I found out that muscle mass was a leading factor in keeping you alive longer. Did y'all know that? Because a lot of old people, what happens is they fall because their muscles aren't together, and they fall and they break something, and then that leads to a bunch of other complications, which eventually leads to death. So they were literally saying just muscle mass alone will expand your life extensively. So just do something. That's what I'm saying. I'm begging you, please give me a yes. Give me a yes in the chat if you're going to do something, right? So the E stands for exercise, M stands for mental health, the D stands for diet. We gotta start thinking about this processed food. I don't know how you really get away from all this food. I mean, this food that's out here is so terrible. It's just it's such a killer. But you got to try, right? At the very least, being conscious. Just like you're economically conscious, you got to be health conscious, right? So at least give yourself a little bit of shit. Like that's what I do. I still eat. There's no food that's off limits, and I apologize to my friends in the Nation of Islam, but I confess I've eaten pork. Right. But I don't eat it all the time. It's like way at the bottom of the list. Right. And I'll eat a steak or eat chicken, all these. Right. So I get it. Right. But at the same time, though, I put those things lower down the list. So I start with the stuff I need to eat, the salads or whatever. And then if I don't feel like a salad, I'll just keep going down the list until I get to the steak or the chicken or whatever. Right. So I know these things. Right. So but nobody's perfect. We're all coming up short. Some of y'all are really good. Some of y'all have the discipline to just eat right every single day, all the time. I'm sorry. I cannot relate to you in that capacity because I like food and I ate Twizzlers last night. That's me being honest with you. But what I'm saying to you is that we can all do a little bit better, right? So you're talking to a reformed food addict here. You're talking to a reformed fat addict right here, right? What else? MEDS. Oh, and the last one was I think let's see, it was mental health, exercise, diet. I want to say sleep. Did he say sleep? Was it sleep? Yeah, I think it was sleep. Yeah. They train you to not sleep. A lot of people think that sleep is for idiots and fools, or that they'll say things like, "Oh, you can sleep when you're dead." No, sleep is very important. When you go without sleep, it can not only drive you crazy, but it also just destroys your health because sleep is when your body heals itself. So take your meds and you can avoid Chad. Chad is the angel of death. So the meds, MEDS, mental health, exercise, diet, and sleep will help you avoid the angel of death, which is Chad. Chad stands for cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes. That is, in my view, see, if they declare war on Chad, the way they declare war on COVID, it would literally save probably about 1 million lives, at least 1 million. And that's in the next 5 to 10 years, 1 million lives. I think I probably saved more lives in this live stream than the government saved all during COVID. I really believe that. I think that they were pushing those jabs because it was profitable to do so. Since when did they ever give a damn about Black people's lives? Since when did Black lives really matter to them? If Black lives really matter to them, they would declare war on diabetes. They would declare war on cancer. They would declare war on heart disease. They don't do that. But they declare war on COVID because it was profitable. There was money being made in war. In fact, but this is nothing new. There's always been money to be made during a war. Right? You just create some shit that gets everybody riled up. Or the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, so now we got to go get them back. And next thing you know, Henry Ford is making another $1 billion manufacturing guns and bullets and tanks and ships and all that. It's all a business. All the stuff, it's always a business. So I think you should understand these things. And I know that we deviated a lot from the original topic, which was the little girl who pepper sprayed the teacher. But I like to talk about the system. I like talking about reality. I like talking about what's happening in the world, so that maybe somebody out there that's listening will have a better understanding of how this stuff works. So you don't fall for the rope-a-dope. I think that the public schools are just a terrible place for Black children. I think public schools don't breed the kind of kids that we're going to need in the future, that are really going to make our community great. If I had money, I had all those conversations with Kanye West And if I could have convinced him to, to allocate 10, $20 million to helping us start building school systems around this country, I would have done that. He has the Donda Academy and stuff, and I don't know how he's running that, but I would be like, let's get a board of the best educators in this country, some of the most dedicated teachers. Let's give them millions of dollars to work with, and let's see what we can create that's going to be ours. I don't want Black children educated by non-Black people. I just don't. I believe that Black children that are educated, imagine if you had a Black child that was listening to me every day. Some of y'all got kids that are listening to this stuff every day. We're talking, I meet y'all, I see y'all at events and stuff like that. I'm sorry, I'm going to be honest. I think your child is going to be so much better off than everybody else. They're going to be so much better prepared than everybody else. Everything that I do here on this channel, when I get into these sessions where I admittedly start just kind of going on a stream of consciousness, I did that with my brother for years. I did that with him since he was 6. And my brother, it was a millionaire by the time he was 35 years old. My brother went to Cornell University. My brother is a great father, a great husband. He's raising 2 wonderful kids. He is an asset to the community. And that was exactly the way it was intended, because between me and his dad, we made sure we instilled in him all the values that are going to make him an asset to the community and not a liability. And I see your question. Somebody says, "What about Dr. Umar School donating or collaborating?" Let me just be honest about Umar School. I've known about Umar School for over 10 years. I did make a donation, but it was only $25. I did not like the way Umar was running that school. I did not like the way he was laying out the plan. I did not feel that he had the emotional maturity to execute that plan to fruition. I never felt that way. I felt like he should have been collaborating with more Black educators. Jamar, my brother, Lord Jamar, challenged him on that. He did a really interesting interview with Umar. You should go watch the interview. The one he did with Roland wasn't fair. Roland's kind of a punk sometimes. Roland gets kind of mean with people. But the Lord Jamar was in a very supportive way, making suggestions and saying, why don't you do this? There are teachers who have less resources who can build schools and get things going. I don't know what's going on with Umar, but I think that there was a lot of people felt, and I wasn't the only one, felt that it was problematic in terms of how he was getting it done. In terms of collaborating, do you know how many people tried to collaborate? Do you know how many people reached out and said, I'd like to help you. What can I do? There, tons of people did. Tons of people tried, myself included. Like, hey, let's talk. Let's figure this out. He's not at least at that stage, he wasn't a good collaborator. Maybe now he's evolved. I hope he's evolved, because we all mature, we all grow, and I cheer for it. But I think at the same time, one thing I want to get past too is this idea that only one man can build a goddamn school. There are thousands of people in our community who are smart enough at building schools. The reason you don't know about them is because they wasn't on the Breakfast Club, or they're not. Maybe they're not as good at speaking as some of our best speakers out here. So again, I have nothing against that school. Whatever, if it gets built, that's great. But I don't know why we have some of us that get into hero worship to the point where we believe that one school is going to change the whole Black community. One school is not white. The white man does not build one school. The white man has never sat around and said, let's build one great school and that's going to make our whole community better. Ever. No community, no powerful community ever has said, let's build one school and that's gonna really solve our problems. No, they built thousands of schools. Thousands of schools. That's what you need, systems. Remember, you're fighting against systematic racism. You must fight. To fight a system, you need a system. A football team is a system. It's a program. Right? So a football program, a football system is where you have 80, between 50 and 80 players, a gigantic coaching staff, stacks of plans and charts and meetings and a structure, like an organization that makes it their goal to go out on that field, declare war, and win games. That's a system. So to defeat a football team, you can't show up and say, oh, well, we got one really great player and he's going to show up and he's going to beat the whole team. You can't beat a system with one great player. You could take the greatest football player in the history of all mankind, and he could not even defeat a high school football program. Even a bunch of high schoolers could beat that one guy if you're talking about one guy against an entire system. One super Negro cannot defeat all of white supremacy. And I'm not talking about Umar anymore. Let's get that off the table, because I don't know if he likes me very much. It doesn't matter. Whatever. He's going to say stuff. Fine, I don't care. But I'm telling you, what you have to understand is you need systems. You need to think in a systematic fashion. So, I don't think you can win a war by building one of anything. One guy, your leadership. When we have these leadership scenarios where we all get to worshiping one guy, whether it's Malcolm or Martin or anybody, and we don't think in terms of systems, well, then what happens? They just kill that guy, and then it's over. And then the whole movement dies because one guy is dead. So get past that. We need large movements that involve millions of people, that involve vast structures that have lots of replication in them, so that you're able to have replacements. If something gets knocked out, then it's okay. Something jumps right into its place. That's how you build an empire. And I would like to see at some point, and I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen one day. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off or not, but I think one day we're going to have some black billionaire who gets it, and he's going to go raise billions of dollars to build independent black-owned schools all across this country that are going to educate black children on the areas that they need in order to be successful assets to the black community when that school gets built. And if I ever get the chance to have the capital to build a school like that, here's what's going to occur. The objective will be very simple. I'm going to say this school is designed to serve one purpose: to improve the condition of the black community. That is it. We are not here to serve other people. We are not here to do other things. We are not here to focus on other people's issues. We are here to do one thing: to improve the condition of the black community. And every child in that school would get an education, starting with economics. First of all, they would learn on the economic side. They would all learn to invest in stock. They would all learn to invest in real estate. They would all learn how to start businesses. That would be a requirement. Number two, they would all learn the fundamentals of reading, writing, and math. And they would do that on a regular basis to the point where they would be excellent readers. They would have excellent reading comprehension and efficiency. They would be excellent writers because they would need to be able to communicate their ideas in an effective way. And then mathematics is really important because if you want to build wealth and stuff like that, you got to learn how to count. And then after we do reading, writing, math, stock market investing, real estate investing, and entrepreneurship, which are the three ways that people get rich, I would also train them on what it means to run a family. Home economics would be really important. So I would have every child learn how to be the head of a household. If you are a father, here's some way to view your role as a father. If you're a mother, here's some way to view your role as a mother. When you have a child, here's the appropriate way for you to raise your child, properly, whatever. Also, I would have them learn Black history. A lot of our kids fall to the side because they don't know who the hell they are. You grow up worshiping white people. You grow up hoping that you can fit in to an inferior culture. So next thing you know, our kids turn out inferior. Next thing you know, they're all over the place. Next thing you know, they're wilding out and acting a fool and acting weird because they don't know who they are. If you know who you are, then people can remind you who you are when you start acting out of your character, right? So if you know, look, I come from a distinguished family that I take pride in, and then you start acting an ass, then somebody says, wait a minute, you shouldn't do that. You're a Witherspoon. And you're like, yeah, that's right. I am a Witherspoon. Or if even if you were something like a Christian, right? And you start acting in a way that's not godly, right? Like, what can somebody do? Somebody will be like, what are you talking about? Stop doing that. You a Christian, girl. Stop that. And you'll be like, oh, that's right. I'm a Christian. See, that kind of thing, that kind of cue, reminding you who you are and reminding you of when you've gone outside the lines of what your appropriate character is, that keeps people in line. It reminds people, and it can go for even things that are negative. Like if you're supposed to be a thug and a gangster, and then you start acting like a punk, then people are like, man, come on, man, you're supposed to be the hardest gangster in Chicago, and you're like, oh, that's right, I'm the man, I'm the gangster, right? Whatever, right? So so ultimately, defining how kids define themselves early shapes how they view themselves all through life. It shapes what they come back to. It shapes how they make choices. Right. So ultimately, I think that Black history is important because that allows you to know where you come from, what expectation there is of you to maintain something. Right. Your job is to maintain this rich heritage, this rich tradition that we have. You can't go out here embarrassing the family. Right. All these things are really important, and these things do matter. Right. And if you look around and you see our kids on Instagram and out in the street acting a fool, embarrassing the whole community, just all over the damn place, well, that's where it comes from. Nobody ever really told those kids who they were. So tell your kids who they are. I think that's really important. So yeah, if I built a school, that's what I would do. Um, and I know I saw someone say, well, why don't you reach out and collaborate with Umar? Y'all don't understand. We all been doing this game for a long time. Those phone calls have been made 10,000 times. It's some things just ain't gonna happen. So so let's get past all that. I wish him the very best with that. I'm looking for the school to be built. If it's built, then I'm never gonna say, oh, go burn that thing down. If you want to know the school that I love the most, or the action that I love seeing, King Randall down in Georgia is a 23-year-old kid who literally just got things done, and I love him. He's a former Marine who just said, let's solve problems, let's teach our kids real skill that will allow them to be really successful. So if you really want to support a project that is that's really getting things done, where he's not sitting around waiting on Democrats, he ain't waiting on Republicans, he's not complaining about the problem, he's actually fixing it. Go look at King Randall's school. King Randall is he is a he if there was ever somebody that's built to be a leader, it's him, because I've been so impressed with the way he has maintained composure, even as a 23-year-old kid being attacked by a 50-year-old man. Roland Martin attacked him because Roland's on this whole Democrat Republican nonsense. He attacked King Randall. King Randall handled it really well, and better than I would have handled it at the age of 23. I was extremely impressed with that. And when I saw him getting beat up on by old ass Roland, I called him up and I said, hey man, I'm going to give you $3,000 for your school. I wrote that check immediately. I said, I'm going to come down. I want to support and endorse whatever you're doing. And I'm an ally to your initiative, permanently, because the thing is, I did not understand, why would you get in the way of a young black man who's trying to build a school to improve the condition of black people? If you don't like it, then just shut up and go do something else. You can easily just walk away. Why in the world are you mad because they're not following the old Negro tradition of sitting around and complaining and believing that voting for the Democrats is going to fix our condition? No, he's building the damn school. Sometimes the best solution to politics is to get out of politics. Sometimes the best solution to politics is to get away from the politics. The politics of, do we vote for Trump or vote for Biden? That's all stupid. That doesn't make a lick of damn difference in the lives of people. But the people that really are getting it done are the ones who say, you know what? I don't care who you voted for. Let's figure out how you can be a better father. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. Let's figure out how we can get you some skills so you can put some food on the table. That's that real meat and potatoes, real tangible stuff that we kind of get away from when we start talking about these high mighty ideas of whether or not the Democrats are going to support gay marriage or transgenderism or whatever the fuck they're talking about. All that stuff is stupid. All that stuff is a waste of time. All that stuff isn't making a difference. And if you don't believe me, if you think I'm full of it, look at your damn community now. Go around the country and look at these cities that are run by the same politicians that we consistently vote for. And I want you to ask yourself, do you think that this is a quality of life that you want to have forever? Are these communities that you're proud of, or do you feel like we can do better? So I say we do better. Let's just do better, man. Let's do better. So I don't give a damn about none of this stuff. These other internet characters or whatever, doing what they're doing or whatever. I just think that overall, if you are black and you are determined to be smart and you're determined to be disciplined and you bust your ass to make good choices, you're gonna win. I just believe that. If you invest and you save your money, you're gonna have more money than most white people. If you don't do dumb shit, you're gonna have a quality existence. If you pick a quality woman to marry, then you're gonna have a quality family life. If you choose a good man to have kids with, then your children will have a good father. Right? These decisions all belong to you. They all come back to you, and it all comes down to three main areas. I'm gonna say this and I'm done because I know I'm just kind of going on for a minute, but lots on my mind this Sunday morning. Um, it comes back to, remember those three areas. Whenever I'm trying to measure my quality of life, I go back to three key areas: health, wealth, and relationships. Health, wealth, and relationships. Physical and mental health, financial security, and cash flow / income, whatever. And then relationships. What are your key relationships like? What's the status of those relationships? If you focus on those three areas, most of those areas can be resolved with minimal interference from the politics. Your health, your mental health is easy in the sense that there is a ton of stuff out here. You can watch videos, you can watch things, you can read that will help you get your mental health together. Black therapists, there are thousands of them who are damn good at what they do. I love my Black therapist, and I don't have a therapist because something's wrong. I have a therapist because I want to make sure everything stays right. I don't have a therapist because I'm deficient. I have a therapist because I want to excel. I don't have a therapist because I'm jacked up. I have a therapist because I want to rise up, right? So I talk to my therapist about things because I want to understand who the hell I am, how to not pay attention to the bullshit, and how to grow into the man that I need to be and to show up appropriately for the people I love. When I am dead, when I'm at my funeral, I really want there to be a bunch of people there who can say, my life is better because of that man that's in that casket. That man's life made my life better. The choices he made put me in a better position, and I'm appreciative of that. That's all I want. That's what I'm aiming for. So mental health, I think, can be managed. Physical health, we talked about food and exercise and all that. MEDS, mental health, exercise, diet, and sleep. Do those four things, you avoid the four horsemen of death. Ain't no politician got nothing to say about that. By the way, the Instagram's about to end. When the Instagram's over, I'll just open it back up again. So sorry, guys. What's the next one? Wealth. Well, we talk about wealth all the time. I mean, there's so many things we talked about in wealth. I don't even have to repeat any of that because give me 1 second here. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done it yet. Please hit the thumbs up button. And also, I'll be in Dallas next week on the 19th of May. So if you'd like to come to Dallas, just go to boycewatkins.com. Also, as a reminder, my new book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, it's available on Amazon if you want to go get a copy of that. So feel free to go and grab a copy of that book. All right. And the All Black National Convention is October 20th. It's going to be at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. So feel free to join us in Atlanta if you'd like to join us. All right. So here we go. All right. So let me restart the Instagram real quick so I can invite our Instagram friends back in. All right. So the other, so when you get to the wealth piece, wealth, I would say, can be defined heavily by financial security and whether you have the income that you want. So that really comes down to understanding things like, how do rich people get rich, right? They tend to get rich through stock market investing, real estate investing, entrepreneurship. Rich people don't get rich from jobs. Jobs are for people that want to go work for rich people. But rich people, wealthy families, don't train their children to go get jobs. They say, well, that's what other people do. Your job as a capitalist is to get other people to work for you. There was a billionaire I saw in an interview who said something really profound. He said that making $1 billion isn't about how hard you work, because you can't work hard enough to make $1 billion. He said it's about how hard you get other people to work. So the people that are at the top of the capitalist pile are the ones who do the hiring, the ones who define the structure, not the people who are part of the structure, the cogs in the wheel. So you get to wealth, and then generally speaking, there are the little traps like the student loan trap, credit card traps, the corporate plantation trap, things like that. You avoid those traps, your wealth will typically grow. Making good decisions, and then relationships. I think that relationships are not only are they important in terms of wealth building. You'd be amazed at how easy it is to get money or to get what you need when you have the right relationships. A lot of people think it's about talent and merit. No, it's relationships. A lot of Hollywood stars became Hollywood stars because they had relationships. Maybe they were even sleeping with somebody. You don't know, some of your favorite movie stars. Believe me, I spent a lot of time in Hollywood. Some of your favorite movie stars, people whose names, if I said their names, you would know their names right now. They got a hit because they were sleeping with somebody, or they got a hit because they were in somebody's family, or they got a hit because Lee Daniels talks about how being married to a Jewish man opened his door into Jewish Hollywood. I mean, that's not a surprise, right? So relationships are really important. I think that whatever relationships matter to you, whether you're talking about your children, your spouse, your friends, whatever, those relationships, they tend to get harmed by trauma. Black people have experienced a lot of trauma. So you have to heal from your trauma so you can have relationships that elevate you. And you also have to be able to identify toxic relationships that harm you and learn how to either manage or eliminate those relationships, right? So if you are satisfied in the areas of health, wealth, and relationships, you will typically have a beautiful life. Seriously, you have if you wake up every day and you feel mentally good, physically good, your money's right, imagine waking up every day where you are feeling good psychologically, your health is good, so you're feeling strong, your money's right, you're going into your bank account, the balance is looking pretty, right? You got money coming in this week, cash flow is just flowing, right? You're living below your means, right? You didn't get caught up in the bullshit. You're not trying to keep up with the Joneses. So you got the cash flow right. And then on top of that, You have the people around you are people you love. The people around you are people who make you better, right? You can't ask for more than that. And everything I laid out for you has nothing to do with who you voted for. Literally, that politics doesn't have to even enter the equation. So a lot of times I believe that we spend a lot of time talking about stuff that isn't going to make a difference in our lives. And what I want you to really meditate on, and this is my assignment for you today, is and maybe, and I know I'm preaching a little bit today, so maybe Pastor Boyce is another character that I need to bring in because we got Dr. Boyce and Uncle Boyce, so maybe we got Pastor Boyce today, and it's a Sunday, so why not? But literally, what I want you to do is I want you to look at those three areas: health, wealth, and relationships, and then evaluate where you are and then figure out where you want to be and then put together a plan to get to the place you want to be, right? So you look at your health. Okay, physical and mental health. Where am I doing? Do I feel good about my weight? Do I feel good about my body? Do I feel good mentally? Where then I want you to get online and I want you to search for information that's going to help you do that. Baby steps. It's all about baby steps. And then I want you to go to your wealth and look at your am I as financially secure as I want to be, or am I do I have the cash flow that I want to have? If you don't have it, then go learn how to get it. Figure it out. Go get back online. Figure it out. Baby steps, and then relationships. Look at the key relationships in your life. Look at the people that are around you. Look at the person that's next to you. Maybe look at the relationship with your kids. Look at the relationships of the people that you love and the people that you don't love so much, and meditate on that. And then what that will do, that meditation, listening to God, as Steve Harvey calls it, that's his term, and I like that term. Listening to God will tell you, okay, this person needs to either go, or I need to distance myself from them. But then somebody else, you might say, I need to show appreciation for this person. I need to spend more time with this person. I need to integrate this person into my space a little bit more because I think that they can actually help me do better, right? If you do that, then I guarantee you'll be happier. When I show up and I talk to you guys, I can honestly say, I'm really happy with my life. If you wonder why, like some people make jokes and they say, gosh, do you sleep? Like you're always talking, you're always online. It's because I'm just having fun, man. Like I love to teach. I love to share. I love to think. I love to talk. I love to communicate. I love to connect with you right now. And it's beautiful. Like it's fun for me. It is not even, it's not a job at all. It is not, and when I think about who I'm around every day, I'm around people that I really want to talk to. If I don't want to talk to your ass, if I don't like your energy, you're going to get zapped. You're gone. You're out of here, buddy. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care none of that. Like you're out of here. Because you disrupt my peace. Then you got to get the stepping, period. And I can tell you, I've had people in my life that I've done that to in the last, every year it happens. There's people that come around and I'm like, I don't want you. I don't want you. I don't want to deal with you no more. So you do that, and what you'll find is, but see, the thing is, I found that it takes like a little bit of meditation to sometimes figure that out. I remember sitting there, this was 2016, and I remember sitting there and I was like really sad, and I was like stressed out and annoyed, and I was trying to figure out, why am I feeling this way? Being in touch with your feelings is really important. Like you really got to do that. And I was like, why do I feel like this? And then I isolated the feeling. I isolated it to two people. I said, there's two people in my life that I got to get rid of. And once I get rid of them, I think I'll be okay. And then I cut them off and I was okay. I was better at that point. Right. So you might have that. You might have those one or two people that disrupt your peace. And it might take some meditation to get there. But once you figure it out, make the move, man. Make that move. And I guarantee you'll be in a better place. So anyway, I've done so much talking today. I did. I know we started off with one topic, but you know by now what I do, and I appreciate you hanging out with me. It's been really fun. And so if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'll be in Dallas May 19th. My wife is coming with me, and we're going to. She'll probably speak on something related to financial therapy, and we're going to cover in 2 days the 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, implementation strategies. You'll also get a chance to network with other Black wealth builders, and also Tim Jackson, who's a real estate expert, will join us in Dallas. So if you'd like to join us, go to BoyceWatkins.com. A couple other announcements. One, B1 the movie is coming out this summer. Rick Mathis is the director. We are making our own films. It is going to be a blackbuster film. So many great people in the film. I got to get a list of everybody that's in there because I keep mentioning Reza Islam and Nuri Muhammad, but there's so many other people. Vicky Dillard and Queen Afua and just all the people that y'all love. Like all of y'all's movie stars are in this film. I don't look to the mainstream to find our greatest and brightest and best people. I look right in our space. Like I don't want somebody who is famous because some white man put them on TV. I want people that y'all love and respect, people that y'all want to hear from, and that was our criteria for selection of who was going to be in this movie. So it's super good. I've seen the clips, and shout out to Rick Mathis. He made Black Friday, by the way, which is another blackbuster film. And I think this is important because we're developing our own film industry. Again, I was heavily inspired by that book, An Empire of Their Own, how the Jews invented Hollywood and how, just these regular Eastern European Jews, created Universal Studios and Fox Studios and Warner Brothers. The Warner Brothers sold the family horse. And then out of that, they developed a whole ecosystem, the William Morris Agency and all these businesses that came out of that. Now they got this $1 trillion empire that's their own. I see the same thing happening now. With the development of a Black-owned film industry coming from intelligent Black people, not some of this other mainstream silly stuff that's built on these stereotypes: Black men wearing dresses, or black women being thugs, or or Black men being thugs, Black women being thoughts, and all this other stuff. No, this is built on actually saying, how do we make our community better? How do we honor people like Dr. Claude Anderson, who's an absolute legend? He's our Black version of like the way white people maybe look at Noam Chomsky at MIT. That's how I compare those two, because these are two older guys that are super smart, that have a lot of wisdom, and I think that those ideas should be celebrated. So that's what the film does, and it's super powerful. So that'll be out this summer. We're going to also show it at the convention. The All Black National Convention is October 20th. So if you'd like to join us at the convention, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com, or you can also go to boycewatkins.com if you'd like to learn more, or check out our financial flashcards for kids, or whatever it is. Just go to my website. There's plenty of stuff there that can help you and your family. So God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. And next time, I promise I won't talk this long, but this was actually kind of fun. I'll see you later. Have a good Sunday. Peace.
Here we are, clanting the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.